Hello and welcome back to Fireside Improv. This is chapter 31 of this Karl Franz saga. The path is open for the Emperor to finish his conquest of the coastal cities of Norsca to act as his base of operations for further expeditions deeper into Norsca to try to raise as many strongholds to the ground so that the coastline of the empire is going to be safe. But over towards Norsca, or over towards Kislev, it is not looking so good. Norskins and demons are pouring in from the tattered nation that is needing further support from the empire to push them back. Kislev is going to have to be made whole before the empire can feel that it is safe and secure. Ralph Koch is up in Salzenmund trying to build up a force to start that process. But first things first, the Emperor is moving on to take what is called the Altar of the Crimson Harvest, looting it, taking its riches back to the Empire, and holding on to the settlements as that base of operations. Eldred is doing the same over in Pack Ice Bay, taking it, looting it, occupying it, and that base of operations is set. Both Eldred and the Emperor are all ready to push deeper and deeper and start to put an end to the threat.
Sigmarite Archlector.
Ralph does bolster his forces as he waits for all of his heroes and wizard to join him to hold off the forces of chaos. Valmir in Altdorf continues to establish his army as well that will also push towards Kislev. Ultimately, all of them are going to find their way over there, whether it is through Norsca or through the Empire's territory. Kislev will need to return to the hands of the Ice Queen. With the demonic forces pushing up towards Arnau, Rupert does retreat back to Wrecker's Point. He won't be able to get back down to reclaim Gorsel and resettle it without fighting it, and they do not have the forces to do that. Oleg is also going to get more money sunk into its reconstruction. It is still a pet project of the Emperor. Wolfenburg is put under attack. Archaon, the Ever-Chosen, here to support a demon. He is truly a complete beast, no longer human, and his will is not going to be denied just yet. With Wolfenburg razed to the ground, the pathway is open for Archaon to move deeper into Empire lands. It is up to Volmir to hold him off once his army is recruited. The Emperor doesn't know how much he can trust him to be able to hold him off, but he will try his best. Meanwhile, Thaedric is going to come from Marienburg to re-establish Gorsel.
What does the Emperor bid?
Eldred is going to hold a little bit more before starting his long march over to the Troll Fjord. Ralph Koch is going to continue to recruit more elite soldiers now into his army. The Hellstorm Rocket Battery and the Cavalry, so that he can take down Azazel, the Demon Lord, and push back into Nordland.
King Lewin, welcome. How fares the Emperor in these dark times?
The Emperor decides it's time to try to arrange for Arnau to come back into Empire hands. He does trade the great fortress of Helmgart to the King of Bretonnia.
A good plan.
And a alliance. They have been great friends to the Emperor, and it's time to solidify that friendship. He does trust the Bretonnians to be able to hold Helmgart and holds their own territory. Cormac Dowybreaker has landed near the Bretonnian capital, but he is confident they will be able to hold him off. The remainder of the Greenskin forces make their way from Norsca into Empire territory to attack poor Dieterschaffen again. Dieterschaffen does not have the forces to hold them off, and so Greenskins are able to raze it to the ground again. But they do leave it intact, at least a little bit. Meanwhile, Azazel also marched on to Solzhenmund and put it under siege. Ralph Koch does decide to go ahead and march out to meet Azazel on the field of battle, as there is no time to waste with all of these different threats surrounding the Empire and pushing in. He wastes no time in simply marching his forces forward and engaging. He makes a decision to just make one giant line. His infantry charges right in, while all of his handgunners try to deal with the cavalry and wolves.
March! Change flows through here!
Awaiting orders! Moving now!
Budgets!
Azazel makes himself known in the middle of the forces, but he is taken down by the brave common soldier of the Empire, who are becoming emboldened as these wars continue. Despite the fact that there is not entirety of peace along the borders, much of the core of the Empire remains unscathed, and they know that they have the strength to hold back the tide of chaos under the eyes of their emperor. They are ready to continue to hold off these demons and push them back, and so they did. More and more soldiers flock to Ralph Koch's banner to reclaim Nordland, make the Empire whole,
Gairan whispers,
and help
I call
their
thee,
friends in
relics
Kislev
of power.
reclaim their lands
Praise
as
be to
well.
Sigmar!
I command here.
The Emperor and Eldred are going to wait just a little while longer
Praise
before
Sigmar.
making their push. So Eldred is going to get a head start and
Let us move.
encamp to make sure that he doesn't lose
By
any of his
Sigmar's
soldiers to the elements. And more money is going to be sunk into the reconstruction of the empire, although there is uncertainty with the Lord of the End Times marching towards the lands, deeper and deeper into those core lands. They are confident that Volmir and Ralph are going to be able to
What
hold
does
them
the
off.
Emperor bid?
The Emperor feels that it is time to start his march into the northern
as is
part
my
of
right by
Norsca, or at
Sigmar's
least
crown.
the central
I am
parts.
Franz.
This
They
is
will
where the demonic stronghold of Cormac, Dowybreaker, is. The Doom Keep is the ultimate target. If he can raise that to the ground, he feels that he will be in a position
This
to
will
be able to
bolster the
hold
nation.
off the demons a little bit better.
Yes, a sound plan. On
Meanwhile,
march.
Eldred is going to make his way down into the sea, where he will sail around
Champion
Norsca,
of the faith!
come around the other side to attack there, instead of making the treacherous walk through the snowy mountains.
Sheesh.
Volmir
It is
von
time
Raukov is ready
to
to
strengthen the
join the
Empire.
fight. He is going to march towards Middenheim and see what he can do against the demons, while Thadric
By the
settles
comet.
Gorsel again. Poor Wasteland. Who is going to move there? Who knows? But they will likely die if the current situation continues. But maybe with the excursions into Norsca, they will be able to finally put an end to these coastal raids.
King Lewin Leoncoeur.
The Emperor frees up some coin and orders his men to make the march over to Bretonia, to the city of Languil, to create an official outpost with his new allies, to deepen their friendship, and to potentially start sharing their soldiers to fight together on the field of battle. The demons continue to march in, this time against Krudenwald. The small force there falls. Unfortunately, it was expected that such a thing would happen. But in the far north, the Emperor is ready to continue his march and to start laying siege to the first Norscan fortress, or demonic fortress rather, of Cormac. He is ready to tear it down, and he flies above his men, ready to do what it takes to slaughter these demons. All of the blood, sweat, and tears of all of his conquests is coming to a head. It's all about this, all about bringing peace to his people in this cold land of death. He keeps his soldiers tightly compact, doesn't want some long line where the lines will collapse. He wants to make sure that he gives his men enough opportunity to stand shoulder to shoulder to hold off these demons. They are not alone in this frozen wasteland. He continues to ride out ahead in front of the rest of his army, showing that he will not ask his soldiers to do anything that he will not do. He will tie up as many of the enemy as possible along with his captains, allowing his wizard to rain comets down on the demons. The more that can be killed before ever reaching the line of his noble warriors, the better.
Cavalry ready! Formation march! At speed!
His soldiers can hardly breathe in the toxic fumes that linger over the battlefield. The Emperor himself feels it as well. He wants to have this victory as quickly as possible so that he can get his men out of this toxicity and corrupted land. Feels like he is doing the followers of chaos, the mortal followers, a boon by ending their lives. They don't have to continue to live in such conditions.
Astromancy! Crossbowmen! Ready for war! Rah! Quickly! To battle! Yes! The Empire endures! Captain of the Empire! Fight, men! Fight for our right to live! Crossbows ready, General! Fire!
And the demons cannot withstand the forces of the Empire. They do disintegrate, their life force no longer bound to the mortal flame, and banished back to the realm of chaos, where they should stay if they don't want to continue to get their butts kicked. Great riches are discovered in the settlement. Years and years and years of raids have been brought here.
I command here.
The Emperor decides to sack it first and bring those riches back to the Empire. He will go back to raise the fortress to the ground brick by brick as well.
I am a god, not a slave.
Eldred sees the
Yes, a
fleet of
sound plan.
Cormac Dowybreaker in the distance from his own ships and orders his men to go to it. He
War
wants to
calls.
eliminate that threat, as it could simply wander its way back to Empire territory. He can't allow that. He can't simply sail past. And so he distracts Cormac, leads them back to land, where they make battle near some old elven ruins from the days that they colonized much of the world.
Let's get this over with.
He sets himself up pretty simply with his infantry, protecting his handgunners and crossbows. His cavalry does wait in the woods to flank. Cormac acts just like the Emperor and flies in front of the rest of his army to do battle with the Empire. Soldiers always likes to fight from the front, but that does make him vulnerable to counterattack. Eldred quickly
It will be done!
moves forward to duel him with the support of his wizard.
Loaded
His
sword!
cavalry does get caught by great beasts with the head of bulls, so they will not be able to make
State troops
their
ready!
flank.
Formation march! Gunners!
The Emperor's handgunners are going to target down the beasts of the enemy, the depraved souls, if they can even be called that. Do demons even have souls? Likely not.
Sigma! Preserve us! Wise counsel!
Cormac is killed by the Empire's soldiers. However, the line begins to collapse. The Skaven allies of the demons continue to fire their little pebbles, but despite being little pebbles, they are enough to cause annoyance and damage to Empire soldiers. They try to take them down, but more and more of the Empire soldiers continues to run against the demonic hordes. The wizard does what he can, bringing flocks of his minions to pester the enemy. But unfortunately, with the flanking cavalry having been caught, it seems that that may have made the difference between victory and defeat, as there simply wasn't enough to support the front line. and the battle is lost. Many Empire soldiers did fall. Eldred can only hope that they did enough damage that what remains will not be able to march against the Empire. However, much of his forces still remain. They do make their way back to Norsca, where they have their base of operations. The Emperor is still deeper into Norsca, where he is ready to raise brick by brick the first great fortress of Cormac to the ground. While he was distracted down in the strait, he is losing his power base. So he is going to have to retreat back to replenish his soldiers before making another foray.